Hello and welcome back. And today we're going to talk about that third stage in this process, and that's where the draft comes into play. Now at this point, the ideas, they've been stirred up, some from the student's own mind, and others may be triggered from the questions they ask the AI. But this is where things can get really interesting. This is where those boundaries start to blur a little bit. And the blurring, it isn't a flaw, it's kind of the point. Because drafting, in this age we're in, with AI, it's no longer just a solo act, right? Independent venture. It doesn't have to be anyway. It's a negotiation, a partnership between instinct and influence, between, voice and suggestion, and really between structure and that spontaneity when you're free writing it, where magic happens. Students can and should, at this stage, use the AI, but not as a ghostwriter, as so many people are doing, more as a collaborator. They might ask for help fixing something in their outline, maybe testing a different way to organize their thoughts or logic, or rephrasing a sentence they may be stuck on, remembering to cite that later. Now, these aren't shortcuts. They're the building blocks. The difference is who stays in control, right? The writer. Because every sentence that survives that draft, every phrase that makes it in that final paper, it must be owned completely by the writer. Not just typed, but owned. They're responsible for it. And ownership means it's been touched by human hands and tested by their thoughts. It means the student looked at it and said, yes, this works, and I know why, or here is why. If one line came from the model, fine, but it should be cited, adapted, and accounted for. Because the goal here isn't about catching students or policing them. The goal is transparency over just performance. If a student used AI to help untangle some complex idea or a sentence, that's okay. If they can tell me, what changed and why it changed, right? That's really the key. The point isn't some purity test. The point is awareness. We're not trying to prove that a student didn't use AI. We're teaching them how to use it well, ethically, skillfully, and most important, intentionally. We're helping them remain the writer, right? Even when the tool offers to take over the pen, they have to do it themselves. Remember, they own it and are responsible for it. The real danger isn't the AI at this stage, or that it gives too many ideas. It's that it makes things too easy. It flattens that tension that real writing and thinking demands. And, that tension is where their voice lives. So we don't want to tell students to avoid the tool. We teach them to interrogate what it produces, to shape it, revise it, to decide for themselves what belongs and what does not belong. If the free write was their declaration of their voice, then this draft is a test of what the integrity of that voice. Not just the polish, not perfection in a draft, just presence.